Can't ignore this.
Got to understand how quickly this is developing.
More robust implementation.
Worrying about being, watched and scrutinized.
The equipment is actually ingesting the air.
We're going to get obliterated.
Opens new ideas and new ways to innovate.
I think the differentiator that's going to have people win is the people that can communicate, the people that understand, that have the knowledge, that can be, as Therese says, that trusted advisor at the decision-making table.
Nice job.
Here we go. Welcome to Control Talk now for the week ending July 13th, 2014. It's another world in control land. This is Control Talk. I'm your host, Eric Stromquist, and as usual, I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the controls man from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His name is Kenny Smyers. Kenny, welcome to the show, big dog.
Thank you so much, Eric. I really appreciate those grand introductions. I have to live up to that now. How are things going down in Atlanta, Georgia?
Well, things are going down in Atlanta, and things are going well down in Atlanta, Kenny, and I'm sort of hearing a little something in the background. Sounds like Control Trends Awards. Kenny, I tell you what, man, they're upon us. They're upon us. It's getting close. It'll be here before you know it. For all the people that have reached out to us at controltrends@gmail.com asking about sponsorships opportunities, hey, they're coming out. We should have the sponsorship package should be going out this week. We're really excited about all the interest in the Control Trends Awards, which are going to be bigger and better than ever. Kenny, tell them a little bit about what we got going on this year, what makes it different than last year.
All right, well, first, Eric, we'd like to thank our platinum sponsors that have already committed. LinkSpring, DG Logic, Johnson Controls, and Belimo have already stepped forward. You can tell us a little bit about how important that is. But the nuts and bolts about the show is it's going to be January 26th, 2015, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Hyatt Regency McCormick Place. That's a ballroom contiguously located, 7-8 minute walk from inside the AHR show, where many people will be already attending. So it's going to be very convenient. And in consideration of the January weather in Chicago, that's going to be a real bonus for our Control Trends Awards.
Well, it really is, Kenny, and I think last year we had about 40-45% of the people did not show up for the show that had tickets, partially because of the weather in New York. It was a major snowstorm in New York, and they just weren't able to make it. So this pretty much assures that people at the show are going to be able to be there, and it's going to be great because the timing we're having it at, you can finish up the show, you walk over to the Control Trends Award, you become part of the magic that is the Control Trends Awards. That'll last probably 2.5 to 3 hours. You have a cocktail, you have a snack, you get to see all the excitement, be part of it, walk the red carpet, and then go on to your evening event. So we think this format's going to work really, really well. A lot of people are telling us they're going to be able to attend this year. So we're looking for the attendance to maybe double, possibly triple. And of course, I think what the sponsors are realizing, and again, Kenny, special thanks to EasyIO, DG Logic, Belimo, Johnson Controls, and LinkSpring. These guys committed early to us. They let us know so we can book these spaces and get them going. We've got other sponsors that will be coming in soon. But these guys are innovative. They're first movers. They stepped up. Can't tell you how much we appreciate those guys. Because Kenny and I take this money, we're going to put it into just the biggest party of the year. It's going to be a great event. And not only that, with the new technology we have, more people are going to be seeing this worldwide via video and maybe even a live stream this year. So it's kind of cool because not everybody can make it. And the AHR show, there are not necessarily a lot of contractors there. There are some there, but guess what? Contractors around the world tune into the Control Trends Awards because guess what? They vote on it. So really exciting stuff, Kenny. And to our Control Trends community, I want to thank you guys. We are growing at an exponential rate. Our viewership is. So thanks to everybody that's tuning in on the Control Trends Awards. I'm sorry, everybody's tuning into Control Trends worldwide. We really appreciate it. Appreciate the positive input on that. And we will continue to endeavor to give you control news you can use and keep you up to date on all the trends. So January, what was the date again, Kenny?
26th.
January 26th, Chicago. You're not even going to have your heavy coat because you're going to walk right out of the show into the Control Trends Awards. And Canada's commitment to you, as well as our sponsors, is it is going to be phenomenal, spectacular, incredible. Oh, Kenny, what do we have up first this week?
All right, Eric, the first post we had was the last chance to register for the CABA online event today. And that was a webinar that was scheduled. It's already in the past tense, but I think if you sign up and go on it, you can get the cliff notes on it or actually watch the seminar. But it was July 8th. It was 11 to 12 Eastern Daylight Standard Time. And basically what it was is there's a project underway, the Marketing Sizing for North America, Intelligent and Integrated Buildings V2 research project. And CABA has always been a pioneer in developing the fundamental understandings of market size and the importance of the markets. But they had some great sponsor support already. They had Belimo, Broadcom, Honeywell, Johnson Controls, KMC, Meco Systems, Philips, Panduit, Overhead Doors, Schneider Electric, Siemens, and United Technologies have already got involved and invested in this research study, and they're welcoming more sponsorships.
Well, I'll tell you what, as one of my teachers used to say, Marshall Thurber used to tell me all the time, in God we trust, and all else get data. And I think if you look at what CABA and Ron Zimmer and his team do, I mean, it has got to be the best deal going. I mean, the data is thorough, it's researched, it's available, it's easy to understand, and it's just a great deal because if you were to go to an Arthur Anderson or some of these other people and pay the bucks, you're going to pay huge bucks for this type of stuff. And what Ron and his team do is they make it really available to everybody. So check those guys out. Is it CABA.org or CABA.net? I'm not sure, but we'll put it in the show notes. But check those guys out. CABA.org. Another one of those great Canadian people like Ken St. Clair and AutomatedBuildings.com. Man, they just keep everybody straight, making sure they get the right data. So check that out for sure. What do we have up next, Kenny?
All right, Eric, next up we had a lighter side of Control Trends. We had fun with LinkSpring at IBCon 2014. And that's an interview you did with Bob Measley at LinkSpring. He's the Chief Operating Officer, and he enlightened us on LinkSpring's Cyber Pro, an effective approach to handling cybersecurity problems that are affecting building owners today. You did that interview. Tell us, Bob's quite a character and some of the important information he was conveying.
Well, you know, Bob is just another one of those great people from LinkSpring. I mean, if you think about their team, and I think he's co-owner with Terry Swope of LinkSpring. We're big Terry Swope fans. We're big Mark Peacock fans. George Hawkinson, that whole team over there is just really sharp. Kenny, that great company, linkspring.com. They do building automation, great reputation, great folks. So Bob's got a great sense of humor. Mark wasn't able to make it to the show, and so we had a little bit of fun talking about our friend Mark Peacock. But the Cyber Pro is cybersecurity. I mean, we talk about it ad nauseum on the show, partially because it is absolutely critical that people pay attention to this. You know, Billy the Kid Rios spoke at one of the things at IBCon Realcom that we were at. And as he pointed out, I mean, people go, HVAC controls, what's the big deal? Well, you know, great example was the Super Bowl. I don't know whether you remember that Super Bowl, Kenny, in New Orleans where the lights went off. Now, they say it was just an electrical failure, but Billy the Kid Rios makes the point that, I mean, that could have happened with a cyber hacking. I mean, they can just wreak havoc.
Well, how about what he did out there with the Olympics? And he warned them if they didn't fix it, he was going to shut the lights down at the Olympics.
Oh, I remember. Was that Billy the Kid that did that?
Yeah.
Oh man! So he found a hole in the cybersecurity.
Yeah, and he contacted him. He said, "Hey, you are vulnerable as could be, and I'll give you a demonstration here if you don't fix it." So,
yeah, and then our friend Fred Gordy actually had a picture that he sent to us. Fred Gordy from McKinney's, who's also a cybersecurity evangelist, where he actually showed a picture of it. In the background, they actually had the password that everybody was seeing across the world. So, so the Cyber Pro from LinkSpring is a great answer. There's several in our industry, but it's a great, simple answer to make your system more secure. I won't go into it right now, but you can see it on the video. Bob does a great job of explaining it. Kirk Clausen and George Thomas from Contemporary Controls have another solution. But I think one of the takeaways, Kenny, what our audience needs to be aware of is that you can't ignore this. because people will get in and shut your system down and wreak havoc in your buildings if they have a free pass in. Also, they're great products in our industry, and it's becoming more and more on, I think, the building systems integrator to help provide solutions and be part of that conversation. They can't ignore it anymore.
Well, Eric, also, I just got a post this morning from Belden. Time to pay attention to the NIST guide to ICS security, industrial controls security. So now NIST is getting involved. In fact, the article says that there's a NIST cybersecurity framework that's being written right now. They're asking for participation, but industrial cybersecurity, ICS industrial, I said industrial control, that was a Freudian slip there, but industrial cybersecurity information is available. If you go to the Control Trends, we'll have that post, the URL that'll take you right to the NIST guide. So if you are big in the IT security and you want to make your input, there's still time to do it. So, but it's ongoing, Eric. Like you said, it will not stop. It's a rolling wheel to just get out of the way of it, or it'll roll you over.
I agree, Ken. Couldn't agree more. What do we have up next, Big Dog?
All right, next up we have a Belimo post. We have the Belimo July 11th, 2014 webinar on communicating with the Belimo energy valve. And it's a webinar about the Belimo energy valve with the WebView, the data analysis tool, and BACnet. And what's really cool about this is that they had so many people, I think, sign up and register for it that they actually are having a second one. I for instance, didn't register in time, and I think I have Monday now on my slot. But the whole thing with energy and saving energy through the basics, the ground structure, and a lot of it happens from just the flow of water. We know a lot of technologies out there, but sometimes it comes down just to the basics, and that is supply and return temperatures, maintaining a differential. And when the building management system is lagging on the information and your data analysis isn't working fast enough or well enough, a simple fix is available from Belimo on these applications, for chiller applications or boiler plant applications, where they measure the energy, control the power, and then they manage the delta T. And it's very simple but complicated. There's some software. You can make it complicated, to be honest with you, and then you can also integrate it with your building management system or use their tools alone, standalone. But great stuff from Belimo.
Well, it really is great stuff. And did I mention that Belimo hopped on right away as a platinum sponsor? Again, those forward-thinking folks at Belimo. So Belimo, that product has won some awards at the Control Trends Awards, as well as some other folks from Belimo. Belimo's a very innovative company. And Kenny, if you think about it, that energy valve solves so many problems, okay? It's a combination of the pressure independent control valve. So if you're not getting enough water to your top floors and your systems aren't balanced, it'll act as a balancing valve. It acts as a BTU meter, so you know how much energy consumption you're using. And just a fantastic product. So integrate right back to your building automation control system. So if you didn't get a chance to attend that seminar, which I didn't, unfortunately, I'm glad to hear they're doing another one. Definitely check that out. Kenny, did they give us a new date, a new registration where we can post that on Control Trends yet?
What happens is you have to register. So you can take our post, the registered here post.
Yeah.
And that'll take you to a landing page where you fill out the information, your email address, your name, or whatever, and then the seminar controller or person registers you and then gives you your seminar date.
Very cool.
And I believe mine was from Monday, but I'm sure there's not hundreds of people going on to this, and just they can't probably can only process so many at a time, so that they schedule additional ones.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if you had an opportunity to work with the Belimo Energy Valve and have an experience with it, we'd love for you to tell our community about it. Please reach out in comments. Tell us about your experience if you're so inclined. Hey, if nothing else, it's a great way to advertise. Be sure to put your website there so that our Control Trends community, probably about 40-50% are end users who are probably looking for integrators that can do that kind of stuff for them. So definitely leave us a comment if you work with it, and make sure to leave your website so our listeners can find you.
Well, Eric, I got the actual response back. It says, "We are pleased to confirm your registration for the Communicating with the Energy Valve. We look forward to your participation in the event." It was from Lisa Hickey, and it says, "You can attend the meeting using your registered email address Tuesday, 15 July from 11 to 11:30.
Well, there you go. There you go. Good stuff, Ken.
Alrighty, Eric, next up we have Therese Sullivan's Sound Bites, Surprises, and Solid Advice from the Smart Building Integrator Summit. It's the SBIS at IBCon 2014. And just a little background to Therese. Therese is all about highlighting the brands and the people that are succeeding at the marketing to building professionals via digital marketing. And she has quite a website at buildingcontext.me. But this is just she's a very piercing insight. She's a Silicon Valley expert. She knows about new technologies, the ones that come in real fast and fail real fast. And she's all about understanding the contextualization of our industry. So we're seeing all these smart devices, wearable devices, and what are going to be the impacts? Eventually there's going to be some very important technologies introduced to our market that she believes is going to change the building industry.
Couldn't agree more, Kenny. And Therese is profound. She's working with us right now on a new show along with Rick Warner. So more from Therese, but we feel really fortunate we've had a chance to meet Therese and get to know her. We have a mutual admiration society going on, and we're going to be collaborating on some things. But yeah, Therese really, like you, Kenny, very much has a way with the word, is able to write and make things very, very concise. She talked a bit about, a lot about the human-to-machine connectivity, which you said the contextualization. She talked a lot about that. I think one of the big things, Kenny, which I want to have a little dialogue with you about, is she talks about systems integrators that, from her talking to people at IBCon Realcomm, that for systems integrators, and I would expand that to be distributors, to have a place at the table, the decision-making table, when these systems go in, they pretty much have to be brand agnostic so that they can become a trusted advisor. So I think that's an interesting shift. If you look at how we go to market, typically and traditionally, it's like, you get a product line, somebody else has got a different product line, and everybody has one product line, and especially the contractor direct. And those guys all have quotas they have to meet, so obviously if they come in to talk to you, they're going to talk about why their solution is the best solution. And it might be. It very, very well might be. But couple that against what I think Therese in the industry seems to be calling for, which is somebody that comes in and says, hey, there are multiple brands that we can handle. Each has its advantages and disadvantages. Let's look at your situation as being unique so that we can talk to you about what is best for you. So I'm wondering if a trend we're going to see, Kenny, is that the winners are the people that can come to the table and have knowledge of not just one product line, but all product lines. I recently spoke at a huge BOMA meeting in Atlanta, and they were talking about the different ways they could get product and building automation controls and the smart buildings and all that. And they sort of asked me point blank, well, so what's the role of a distributor? And see, I look at the role of a distributor, at least in this new economy, if things sort of break down the way it looks like it's going to happen with all this new technology and these new players coming in, Kenny, I see the role of a distributor is being the hub where all the spokes go around, and basically for the distributor to be successful, I think they're going to take that role of trusted advisor on, and where they can go in and they can talk about all the different manufacturers, what they do, and what might be the best solution for the customer. So education from a distributor standpoint, I think it's going to be your differentiator. I don't think it's going to be the product so much anymore, because if you don't have a decent product, you're not even in the game. If you're not with the manufacturers are not up to date with the latest technology. I mean, imagine somebody trying to compete in today's marketplace that doesn't have an open protocol, or that doesn't speak BACnet, or doesn't speak LAN. I mean, they're not even in the conversation. So I think the differentiator that's going to have people win is the people that can communicate, the people that understand, that have the knowledge, that can be, as Therese says, that trusted advisor at the decision-making table.
Yes, Eric. Well, excuse me. There's it's a great post. So please visit that on Control Trends, and there's more. If you go to Teresa's website, buildingcontext.me, there's a new post on continuous commissioning and FDD. It's a special edition post, and she digs deep into it. In other words, she has a lot of experience, and she gets it. So she's helping bridge some of the discontinuity or the incongruous technologies are coming across and meeting each other now, because and she believes that the MSI's job, Master Systems Integrator job, is going to be it's not going to fall in your lap. You're going to have to go get it. And so she helps point all of us in the right direction of where these convergences are going to occur.
Well, no, Therese Sullivan Therese Sullivan for sure, Kenny, is somebody you gotta check her out. You gotta stay tuned to a couple places for sure. You know, Control Trends we feel like is one of your trusted sources. BuildingContext.me, Therese Sullivan. We love Therese because she has a different perspective on it. And of course, our friend Ken Sinclair, AutomatedBuildings.com. And you know, Therese is breaking down. We've all been affected by what we saw at Ivicon Realcom with the advent of the new players that have come into the marketplace, and wondering how that's going to affect us. And recently, Kenny, I saw an article, Ken Sinclair's July issue of AutomatedBuildings.com. I think a guy who really sums this up really well is a guy named Chip Piper. He's VP of Sales and Marketing from Environmental Systems Incorporated. I'm going to have to look down a little bit, but he had some quotes here. He's talking about, you know, Intel coming in, Cisco coming in, Microsoft Azure coming in, Google coming in, IBM coming in with the predictive maintenance applications. And so he makes an interesting, really sort of poses an interesting questions, and that's a question which I sort of paraphrase a bit here. He's basically saying, one key observation is he's saying is that the vast differences between the business practices of the enterprise hardware and software companies, like the aforementioned Intel, Cisco, Google, Microsoft, IBM, okay, compared to the players that participate in the building efficiency industry, which I'm assuming he means people like us and the manufacturers that we play with, the pace, he makes a distinction about the pace of solution adoption in our industry, meaning the traditional industry, is much slower and less urgent to the business conducted at a different level of decision making, and clearly made up of organizations that are not forced to innovate at the same speed as enterprise IT, the people that are coming into our industry. So he is, you know, check the article out. It's on Ken Sinclair's AutomatedBuildings.com, and we ought to try to get Chip to come on Control Trends, because I think he sort of sums it up in a real interesting way, basically meaning the rate of speed. I mean, these guys, the Intels, the Ciscos, they move at a much more rapid speed. They deal at a much higher level than the decision makers that we typically do. So he's proposing that one or two things are going to happen. Either we're going to get obliterated because we don't pick the pace up, or we're going to adapt, which he, I think, indicates that's the more likely scenarios. The traditional industry is going to adapt and pick the pace up. So again, I think, Kenny, one way or another, 2014 is going to be a pivotal year, and things are not going to be the same. In other words, Kenny, we're not going to be in Kansas anymore.
Well, Eric, you know, you said so many great things there, and that's some fabulous insight, because that's exactly what's going on, is that we've had an old comfort zone that we're seeing deteriorate rapidly, and we're seeing people that come out of these the industrial areas, and you look about how they were handling production forecasting and scheduling with MES systems, and the asset capability forecasting, and the control of SCADA systems, data historians, and asset health and enterprise asset management. Well, the asset management aspect is coming to life in our world. I mean, there's no excuse now to let your equipment die up on the roof anymore. I mean, it's just the guy from Kevin Fasinelli just said that he was embarrassed that our industry had created such a remote and to put equipment that cost you $15, $20, $100,000 on the roof and let it rust away with no diagnostics, no way to say, hey, help, and to make that our service work. So that was like an engineered development of an industry where that service work resulted in a tremendous amount of economic revenue, a revenue stream of magnificent proportions, and it's over. So what's happening is we need to jump into the next streams that are coming in that are going to replace that, and they're going to require you to know about the Internet of Things. They're going to put sensors on everything moving and grooving, and then they're going to put that technology that Mike Marston and Easy Io have. They're going to put all that stuff into a controller, so before it goes up and takes up so much time and space in the clouds, it's going to do its own review, and it's going to filter out only the important information, and it's going to send very accurate, timely, real-time information to something that's going to do something about it. So we've got to understand how quickly this is developing, and we just hope that the people that we, our customers, our vendors that we rely on for this kind of leadership and success, or a channel that's successful, are ready to run at that speed.
No, I think so. I think they're going to rise to the challenge, Kenny. And another interesting thing is Ivacon Rocom is how interested some of these new players were in what we're doing at Control Trends, and so it's interesting. We might have we might have a few new faces at the Control Trends Awards this year. So we'll just have to wait and see.
They went into the building space, and they're not ashamed or abashed, and they've got deep pockets, so they're coming in. They're not asking for permission. They're announcing their arrival. How about Google said? Google said
we don't want to dominate the whole world, just certain parts of it, right?
we don't want all of your market. We just want a good piece of it.
Yeah, we just want the pieces we want. So, wow. So,
all right.
Okay, cool. Well, it's interesting, and it's going to be a fun, maybe a little bit of a scary trend to follow, but. We got some really smart people in our industry, Kenny, and
I know.
And I have a feeling they're ramping up, and so I think we're going to see some exciting new stuff from
I agree.
The people in our industry.
You know what, Eric? That's why I'm saying it's so exciting. That's why Control Trends continues to play such a vital portal into these, all these different directions. Please help us become the place to go to. Support us, and we support you back just through this aggregation of information. We'll be the source to be able to help you make decisions, and the more we're in the know, the more you're in the know.
Okay, Kenny Smyers, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest today. He's been on the show before. He'll be on the show again. If the controls industry has a superhero, he is the first one. His superhero handle is the Innovator. Partially because he's brilliant, partially because he's one of the most innovative guys in our industry, partially because he looks a little bit like Arnold Schwarzenegger, at least to me and Kenny. You might know him as Rick Warner from OEMFacilitySolutions.com, one of the premier systems integrator in the country, if not the world. Hey, Rick, welcome back to the show, buddy. It's good to have you.
Guys, great to be back on another installment of Innovation Corner.
We see you have a special guest here today. Why don't you introduce your special guest to our Control Trends community?
Following along the lines of you guys coining me the innovator, I would, in the same vernacular, I would consider Mike the optimizer. So Mike happened to be in this week working with me on some projects, and I thought it would be great to kind of bring him in. Mike and I have a relationship that goes back to some laboratory work, and we've both migrated into the data center space as well. So I know, Ken, you and Mike have a relationship going back years as well. So I just thought I'd bring Mike on to talk a little bit about data centers, some exciting stuff going on there.
Okay, Mike, so Rick introduced you as the optimizer. I'm assuming that's going to be your superhero title. So tell us about optimization and what you guys do that makes you the optimizer and makes you unique in the world of data centers.
Well, I'm particularly excited about some of the innovations in the data center white space, particularly that the data center white space has come of age in many important ways. Perhaps the two most important are availability and fault tolerance.
Absolutely.
These things have now matured to a level where they're well in hand, which allows us then to address some other issues that are of importance to the data center, particularly revolving around optimization and energy savings. And we can do some things now like calculating PUE at the rack level. This is something very powerful for the end user. And I think what that will allow us to do is to have more robust implementation of ASHRAE TC9 possibilities and saving a lot of energy while maintaining the availability and the fault tolerance. So I think this is very exciting for the industry, and there are a few things, I guess, specifically in terms of innovation that I'm really excited about. One is the potential advent of the smart rack, and the second thing, I guess, is more general, and that is the increasing collaboration of commissioning groups with systems integration groups such as Rick has.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Mike, good stuff. Tell us more. Let's take a deeper dive into the white space and what we should know. What should the Control Trends community know about the data space?
Well, particularly now there's this continual or common viewpoint of the IT side and the HVAC side being two divergent realities where they must converge at the rack level, where the IT equipment lives and where the HVAC equipment provides its ultimate benefit. And if we can see that in terms of process control, where the IT equipment is actually ingesting the air that we produce.
Yeah.
This opens new ideas and new ways to innovate and then to optimize systems practically around that understanding.
So Mike, talk to us about how optimization relates to innovation and how that relates to your customers and what you're trying to do in your business model.
Well, innovation is the fundamental point of view that guides our ability to implement and correctly commission these systems for the customer's benefit. But what their final benefit is the achievement of optimization, whereby they can get their performance levels up to a higher standard and save energy simultaneously. So the simultaneous operation or optimization of systems is something that's been very elusive. But now various technologies have become mature enough that these things are on the near horizon and are capable of implementation right now.
So what is our key takeaway for our viewers? What do they need to know especially about data centers?
I think it's the practical application of DCIM tools, or data center or infrastructure management tools. These technologies have also matured in such a way that they can be applied in a menu-driven fashion that are more specific to a customer's particular site. And so they don't have to buy into a very large platform approach that in effect almost takes over their space. So we can focus these technologies in a way that have the greatest benefit to the client. CIM, I think, is the future, but in a practical, scalable way.
All right, Rick, hey man, thank you so much for introducing us to our next superhero, the optimizer.
I hopefully you guys understand and appreciate why I brought Mike, the optimizer, on. I just felt like, a lot of the stuff we were talking about is very timely for your viewers and your audience. So anyway, appreciate the opportunity again, guys, and looking forward to coming back again.
Hey, if you want to come on this show, and if you got a super talent like one of these two guys, you can be a superhero on Control Trends and ControlTalk now as well. So, Rick, man, can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great segue into what we're talking about, the formidability of technology being broken down now into products that are available to purchase, or this particular one's a service, so they don't sell this, but the spin robot services are now available from Team Sanborn. Sanborn, there's a direct link on the Control Trends post that takes you there, but it's basically the Sanborn platform for indoor mapping. Spin is a semi-autonomous mobile robotic platform designed exclusively for indoor mapping applications. By utilizing the recent advances made in a variety of 3D technologies, including laser scanning, photogrammetry, and computer vision, the state-of-the-art approaches used in robotics, Spin is a leap forward in accurately mapping the building interiors. So we're seeing, and I can just read the rest of it, but please go visit our site and see the post for yourself. But basically, it provides geospatial products, location-based services, and solutions to clients in the business, engineering, government, natural resources, telecommunication, utility sector. So you can now have your facility mapped out, so you know exactly what your cubic feet is, the square feet is. It was a funny thing that Jim Young mentioned, that most of these building owners that have these enormous complexes, 50,000, it's a guess based on the mathematics they can do on the height, width, and length, but they don't really know how big it is. And this actually gives people the information, but the service is done while you're not involved in it. It's not intrusive, it's not invasive. It goes into the building and by itself goes out and literally goes out and just takes, like the Star Trek R2-D2, the little hologram. It basically creates something that's almost hard to believe, but at the end of the day, you have this amazing service at your disposal, and for the right people, it's going to be the right fix.
Completely agree, Kenny, and Sanborn's really cool. So let's say hi to Dave Lorenzini and our friends at Sanborn and our friends at Google. Dave, we first met him. He was showing Google Glasses back at IBCon last year. We got a chance to catch up with him. You can see it on Control Trends. But these guys are at the forefront, Kenny, and it was kind of cool. We're walking around, and it's kind of nice when people come up to you. And like the guy with the drone, we haven't got him on yet, but the guy from Sanborn came up, wanted us to communicate with us and get on Control Trends. I guess they've been tracking it, and Dave Lorenzini. So that's really cool to go to these things and have these guys want to be part of Control Trends. Dave, the Google Glasses, Kenny and I really think that Google Glasses are going to help solve the lack of one of the trends we've been tracking, which is the lack of talented controls guys in the field. And we think that Google Glass might have a solution for that. And we'll be talking some more to them about that. But the gist of it is, imagine if you could have a guy like Rick Warner back at your control center, a guy who has a tremendous amount of knowledge, and he's got 15 or 20 techs that are out in the field with their Google Glasses on. And this happens today. We actually have a video of it on Control Trends in a different, a parallel industry. And Rick is looking through those Google Glasses at what's going on a job site. So imagine him sitting in front of a console with 15 or 20 computers, 15 guys out there that don't have his talent, but Rick's able to go, okay, tweak that parameter there, okay, look at the valve, let me see how it's responding, adjust that proportional band a little bit more, okay, pull this computer screen up to the next guy. So I think we're going to see tools like Google Glasses
Don't give it all away, Rick. Don't give it all away here.
Providing tremendous leverage. But the only way that's going to happen, you guys at Google, we keep telling you, give Kenny and I some glasses, we'll wear them on the show. All right, that's all we're saying about that, but I think that there's some solutions that Kenny and I are looking at that are going to really help people solve having the qualified personnel. I mean, you're going to have at least, you're going to have some qualified people on your staff, but the challenge that we've all faced is you grow your business and you got one or two guys that are super talented, you can't find other guys to put in the business, so there are ways that you're going to be able to leverage your really, really good guys and be successful.
Well, so, Eric, I just wanted to give a shout out to Sharad Oberoi. He's a PhD from Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. I felt bad I missed that in the very first sentence, but he is basically the developer designer of the Spin robot. So congratulations, Sharad. I hope you do well, and hope we see you in the building near us.
He's a cool guy, really nice guy, very, very nice guy, and they were thrilled with the posts we did. Their marketing people were all excited about it, so it was good stuff. All right, Kenny, what do we have up next?
Well, next one up is one of Stromquist's finest, Mr. Rob Allen, and his latest episode of 7 Minutes in Control. And this is about the new Honeywell AX compatibility checker tool, which, as you aptly wrote, Honeywell hits a home run with the new Webb's AX compatibility checker. And anybody in the business knows that nothing is static. There's always going to be upgrades, patches, and whatever. Tools improve, new products are introduced, so every time you put a new product out there, you're going to have to make sure that the tools include all the other, the previous generations, and so that the product platform is supported from day one to present time. It can be challenging. So what they did was they came out with a compatibility checker that'll do the hard work for you. I mean, the worst thing you could do is go onto one of your JASES and not have the right revision number for the station number. You can host things up in a big hurry there, but this helps you know exactly what's happening. So you got a compatibility checker, software with the built-in utilities for latest release finder, version finder, Venom tool and library version, Spider tool, Silk devices, Spider module finder, and automatic update. So what's really cool about this, I always find, is if you do get behind the power curve and you're overwhelmed with so much work or whatever, that sometimes you just don't, sometimes it's your own fault because you didn't put the latest upgrade in there. And the fixes are on the forum and they're there, but you just somehow you don't get it done at the end of the day. That last mile is always the hardest one to run. So automatic updates become critical. So this tool will automatically check for updates to the compatibility information once a month, and if an update exists, it will pull down the latest information and update it for you. So well done, Honeywell.
Agreed, Kenny. Agreed. Yeah, our troubleshooting team says they have countless instances where it just gets down to they've added some additional components and they're not compatible. So I think this is going to eliminate a lot of time troubleshooting. Sometimes when you're innovative and you innovate a lot, compatibility issues, like you said, can become a problem. So congratulations to Honeywell on that. What do we have up next, Kenny?
Well, another just again, I hate to sound like we're taking off into the fuzzy zones of technology, but we are. This was a post that was forwarded to us from Ken St. Clair, and you posted it, so you're going to take the explanation on this one. I've watched it twice, but basically it's a show you the globality of technology too. This is coming from Western Europe, and it's all about the applications of sensors in the most straightforward and compelling way. Everything can be interwoven into the contextualized world. Your phone, your watch, and everything puts you in an incredible opportunity. And it's time to say goodbye to worrying about being watched and scrutinized by the government. This is already being done. So why don't you tell us about that post?
Well, again, thank you to Ken Sinclair for forwarding that to us. Ken is always on the forefront of things. Ken Sinclair at automatedbuildings.com. But no, it's just great. It's an example, real-world example of how everything is getting connected together. And in the example, a guy gets hit by a car. Immediately, his wife is notified that he's in the hospital, what hospital he's going to. They put a bodysuit on the guy so that on the way in the ambulance, they're diagnosing him. So they know what room to take him to and all that stuff. But it really gets to just the Internet of Things and how incredible that whole thing could be. So it's kind of neat. And of course, I'm a little bit wary now because we've been watching the latest episode of 24, that whole Jack Bauer thing, and, with the drones get hacked and they're attacking London. It'd be interesting to see. We ought to try to get Minivan Jack on here, our counterculture guy who just rails against how our rights are going to be abused with all this stuff. And I don't think they're going to be abused now. I think where he does make a pretty good point is that nobody starts out with this. You give your freedoms away, and usually it's a benevolent government or whatever that you're dealing with. But then when somebody gets in power that's not so benevolent, you've given them, you've essentially put the loaded gun to your head and given them the trigger. But I don't want to go off on that track. I think it's just too cool how everything.
We should invite the Control Trends community to come in and have a pro-con type thing and just balance it out, because what you're doing is great. We're releasing the realities that are above us, but I mean now the contextualization and the iBeacon everywhere. It's over. They're already in place. All the technologies in your house, it's in your car, every Bluetooth device, everything. So now that that's the hard part. That infrastructure came first, and now the explanation and applications are coming second. I talked to a gentleman from where was it? We were on some sales calls. The Honeywell folks, Steve Sundberg and Steve Amato and Scott Dixon came into Pittsburgh. We did some of the old-fashioned calling customers and find out what's going on. And they are already in applications where there was no choice. The meters were put in by the utilities, and they're there, and they're using that technology. And then they're going to figure out the privacy, the invasions, freedom violation, whatever later. The government has given the authorization to get this stuff in place because we can't build any more power plants. We've got to become green, and the only way to save the planet and reduce carbon footprint is to get a hold of our energy, close down some of the things that make the carbon footprint gigantic, and put the technology to save a smart grid. And you can control things and prevent knockouts and cities from going dark. So I'm afraid that the more I read, the more I realize how naive I was personally that this could happen. It didn't could happen anymore. Yeah. It has happened.
The cat's out of the bag, right? I would think that if you were like in law school, there's got to be a whole legal field that's if it hasn't developed, it will develop around human rights. Can you imagine? You've got a fever or something, so you turn your air conditioning on, and all of a sudden somebody shows up and writes you. They wouldn't show up and write you a ticket. All of a sudden you probably wouldn't even get a ticket. They probably would just deduct it from your bank account, going fine for violating the temperature law or whatever. So it's and then of course me having just wow. Think about divorce suits and all that kind of stuff, and they're this could be real. I think the lawyers are going to benefit most from this, Kenny. Now that I think about those damn lawyers. They always figure out a way to get in the middle. And you were hearing about lawyers struggling for business, and now all of a sudden they got this whole Internet of Things and the privacy issues and all that stuff. Oh man, Kenny, it's the lawyers, man. They're going to get rich in this whole thing.
This is a global issue, and I'll tell you, my very first instance of this actually occurred back in Steffi was born. My second daughter was born in Germany, 1991, Hanau Mittelbuchen, and we had a little baby that was having a rough time and things, and we needed more heat. It was wintertime, and I could get the heater up, and I knew a little bit about things, and I knew it was controlled by Wi-Fi back then. That was it was already, that was 1991. I called my landlord up and said, hey, Mr. Volker, can I get some more heat? Can you set it higher? I'll pay you the additional money. He said, Mr. Smyers, he goes, that's out of my control. If you want more heat, buy yourself a water, one of the hot water heaters like we do. That was his answer. So, I mean, this has really been in play a great. It's amazing how the revelations occur to us. The epiphanies of the technologies are they're like a cloud storm that could be, it's storming everywhere else but your neighborhood, but all of a sudden it lands right over you, and now you're suddenly aware of everything, all the implications. So, but I really like your style about it, because there are some consequences, and that was one of them. We had a sick child, wanted more heat, couldn't get it through the obvious way, the way we were used to, the comfort zone way. We had to come up with ways to provide more additional heat blankets and whatever. Of course, it cost more money, but we were able to be very energy efficient on the use of that. But the way things are going, Eric, I think what you got to do, and especially in our control world, this is the headwinds and the some of the barriers and resistance that the more we do that, the more we're going to be at risk to adopt the newest technologies.
Well, I guess got to stay. Like Marshall Thurber once told me, nothing's obvious to the uninformed, and I tell you, it's more important now to stay up to speed on things. I don't do this solder. I meant to bring it out, but Time Magazine is on the cover is about hacking into buildings and stuff like that. Cybersecurity. So
there's going to be consequences for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is 2014.
Yeah.
And I think that we're all really addressing the reality that there's going to be things that are going to be served up to us that we're not going to like because it wasn't what we used to.
Yeah.
And you can either fight or compromise. And I think the two answers are to take flight with it, and not against it, and to compromise some of your existing. And I don't mean in a bad way. I mean there's obviously some some middle ground here, and it's not going to happen overnight. But the reality is that the kids that are going to go to the educational institutions, starting like next year or the year after, are going to be introduced to this as a normal world.
Yeah.
It's like the guy that said when they first put TVs and refrigerators in some of these houses, when they first introduced cameras to people, they thought they were capturing their soul, and they thought it was evil, and they thought whatever, because it was just such a radical introduction of technology. It was a splash, shock and awe. But the reality is that this will become as normal to the next generation, the upcoming generations, as what television and refrigerators were to us.
Well, I tell you what, I've had a theory for a while, because if you define technology, and the reason it's important is so you're able to do more with less, right? So in other words, you get a good controller or whatever. So instead of having a good like diagnostic package, so instead of having 5 guys troubleshooting stuff, now you can have 1, which basically means those 4 other guys are out of work. So my question is, do we eventually, and I have a theory that at some point in time, probably in my daughter Evelyn's lifetime, work is going to become a luxury, meaning that technology is just going to take over, and we're going to get so damn efficient. Because I tell you what, you talk about people, the robots are here, they're taking over. I mean, if you really look at the education system, if you really wanted to overhaul that, you just get rid of the schools. And you just have everybody do it online, or you eliminate a bunch of your teachers. You take the best teachers in the world on a given subject. They would prepare the modules. You would go online, have them teach you. You would answer questions before you could go to the next module. So, at some point in time, that reality is going to slap us in the face. So, there was a guy, Buckminster Fuller, back in the 20s, Kenny, and he did a study. This guy's great, Buckminster Fuller. You got to check him out. America's probably greatest thinker and inventor. You don't hear a lot about him because he's pretty radical, but he invented architecturally the geodesic dome as being the most efficient, structure there was. But Fuller did this study back in the 20s and figured out that you could have 5% of the people work, give everybody else, I think, $30,000 or $40,000 a year, just give it to them to stay home and think or do whatever they wanted to do, and the economy would have been so much more efficient. Because you're eliminating the buildings and people going to work and all that stuff. And if you really think about at a certain level what goes on, I think we as human beings just need to be busy, right? We're searching for relevance. But I do think with the technology, just think of the ramifications as this goes farther and farther forward. Kenny, at some point in time, there are going to be robots that are going to replace guys like us, right?
Sure.
So anyway, I digress. I'm on a philosophical
No, but
bit.
here, let's just go over. I mean, no, this isn't a digression. This is a very good opportunity to keep talking about things because, like Jim Young said, this is the headwinds that we're. Look at the ATM. Look at the self-serve gas. Look at the self-checkout. Look at the automatic.
Yes.
Look at all the transactions you do on your computer. So we resisted ATMs for a long time. I knew certain relatives, they would not use the ATM. It was an insult to their banking relationship.
Yes.
Nobody would serve themselves gas. I mean, when it first happened, where they charged 5 cents less to put your own gas in the pump. The self-checkout. I remember the first times I saw that, I said, that's not for me. And now I can't stand waiting in line. I run right up to the first open self-checkout, and so I'm saying that it really is, Eric. And I think we can help serve as some sort of a, just kind of like a, to break it down and to eat the elephant one bite at a time. But the reality is that our whole industry, us in particular, right now is vulnerable to it's the attitude, and we need to help pick it up so that we're online with the latest upcoming Y generation folks that are coming in from the IT view into our world. So we still have to have that equipment view right back at them, and somewhere there's going to be that synergy. But there's a thesis, an antithesis, and a synergy. And right now we're being challenged on every front. So we need to.
Yeah, and I think Chip Piper was, in the article I alluded to on automatedbuildings.com, I think Kenny is saying your exact point, meaning that these IT-based, enterprise-based solution businesses are already moving at warp speed faster than how we are. So I think one solution will be to study what they're doing, because they've already proven that business model in another technology. So it's so it's a little bit like you got heavyweight fighters, right, that have won the title at the heavyweight division. Now they're going to come down to the middleweight division, and it's fascinating times. It really is.
It's like you said too. I mean, the thing I was talking about earlier was from October 6, 2004, from the OPC Foundation, and they've got these kind of beautiful little diagrams on your flow charts and how you should look at it. Now, this was for an industry. This is for a major production center, and it talks about just all kinds of interesting stuff about assets. But the whole idea was, you once said to me, stop calling it a building, stop calling it a rooftop, stop calling it an air handler. It's an asset. It's your money. It's your investment. And what they don't let happen in industrial applications, they don't let failure occur. They have all kind of predictive maintenance. They're all kind of device monitoring, portable device monitoring, online surveillance monitoring, online protection monitoring, online transient monitors, and sample monitoring to make sure that they don't get shutdowns, at these gigantic industrial complexes. Now, that attitude and mentality now is scaling down into the building space. So it's already been there. It's just, but now you're having people from the IT world, the Dells, the Intels, the IBMs, now they're saying that they can put that in a cloud. You don't have to have physical boxes and stuff, or you don't have to have any duplicities in your system. So they're eliminating all that by making these incredible stacks, where they've got a good stack made better because it's done by the people that did these industrial applications, the people that were doing real heavy duty stuff. Now they're coming into the building space. But you're right.
Well, no, Kenny, I think you're right on it. I saw an interview with the new chairman of Microsoft, and he's got the same message over and over. It's mobile in the cloud, mobile in the cloud. So they were talking about Ballmer, the guy before was really focused on the boxes and the hardware and stuff like that. This guy's all about it's got to be mobile, it's got to be in the cloud. And that's where I think Tritium might be all over it, because that's what Nino's talking about. Nino DeCosmo, the president of Tritium. I mean, that's been his message too. So I think he's got an insight to the future. So I think everybody sort of knows where the train's headed. I think that some others might perceive from that IT world, the train's moving at a much faster rate than maybe we realize, and I don't think any of us know yet how it's going to affect us.
Well, you brought up one of the posts I was going to do next week, and it was on the network address function, the network functions virtualization. Where they take all the components basically, and they make them into software, cloud-based services. So the NAT, the functions being done, the network addressing that were hard-based applications are no longer, so the standard IT virtualization technologies are going to do this at their network. They're no longer constrained by hardware-based appliances. So network addressing, translation, firewalling, intrusion detection, domain name servers, the DNS, the caching. Those were all appliances. They're all going to be done now in the cloud.
Wow.
So, ouch.
It's all changing. And then I think the other trend, Kenny, that we're tracking, and we haven't had a chance to report much on it, is we think we're going to see players like Ericsson and some of the mobile people. We think mobile is going to be the way that people are going to be communicating with the buildings and stuff like that. So a whole new trend coming there. More on that as we go forward. Kenny, we could go on for hours about this. So hey, listen, here's what we like to have happen. Our people in the community watching, reach out to us in comments. You think I'm totally over the top and nothing to worry about? Hey, do you think our industry is going to survive? How do you think we need to change, if at all? Tell us we're wrong, tell us we're right, agree, disagree, just don't ignore us and respond in comments. Let's get a dialogue going.
All right, Eric, and with that, we'll go into our next post, which was July 2014 issue of the United States Department of Energy Building Updates. And it's getting really cool to see how we're getting more dialogue from the U.S. Department of Energy. I mean, and they feed us stuff on Control Trends, and they feed you, if you sign up for their information, it's amazing how much information is available. But basically it says, Dear Building America colleague, the July 14th issue of the U.S. Department of Energy's Building America update newsletter is now available. And what is included, the highlights are examples of zero energy ready homes across the country, and the levels of energy savings and comfort and health and durability that are resulting. So there is a very, very strong federal push from the administration. There's some very lofty goals, the 20% reduction to energy by the year 2020, and you know more about that than I do. It's an amazing chance to catch up, but what I like about this is it tells you where the funding is going. To me, it's all about money fenced in for certain projects, and how the heck do we get to that market and get some of the fenced in money so that we can make a living.
Well, to me, it's another way to fight the war on terror. Let's just get rid of our dependency on oil, right? This is another way to do it. The studies we read, Kenny, is commercial buildings account for 40% of the energy usage. A study we read by Dell was that most commercial buildings have at least 30% energy waste that can be taken away by better controls. So that's about the company.
Again, this will be the last one, so people are getting tired of hearing us and they'll jump off here, but that'd be unfortunate because we have been following the high-tech information from John Nesbitt, and my goodness, he's one of the world's foremost global observer, analysts of global trends. He would be proud of Comfy. He would be just absolutely amazed, because this is all about, people feel like they're pawns inside of a building now. They get it. Some of the dummy thermostats and sensors on the wall aren't really tied into the building management system. So you're seeing some issues that as the efficiencies are increasing, the satisfaction or the dissatisfaction and distrust of the tenants, the occupants, and the building workers are becoming, so you get, while efficiencies are going up, the trust is going down. So Comfy is all about the high tech, high touch. It's a solution born without a lot of technical, financial kicking and scratching. In other words, this is an Ethernet connection to any backnet BMS system, and Comfy puts people back into the equation very accurately as one of the most important and necessary variables, because this is a formula. And so much has been made possible by the in-place wireless routers, in-pocket, in-purse, on-wrist technology, all the smart stuff that basically provides the contextualization, the IoT connection there. And so that the feeling of being circumvented by the networks is eliminated, because what they do is they use the high touch words, warm my space, or cool my space, or I'm comfy. So they've taken all the set points out of the equation, all the graphs, displays, so it's 72, 76. It says either you're hot or you're cold, or you're satisfied. So if you want heat, you push I want warm my space. 10-minute blast of warm air, conditioned air comes down the ductwork, normally through a VAV system. So you're talking about major building management solution side. This is a layer on top of that. Or cool my space, you get 10 minutes. Now, obviously, that's going to work in the building management, whatever automation system you have, and you'll have the different parameters of when that'll happen. But and then I'm comfortable. I'm comfy. So when you're satisfied, you can shut things off. So what they found out by getting people involved in the solution, they have like 22 and 26% energy efficiencies, cutbacks. They're saving energies because people are glad to play their personal role in saving energy if you give it to them, if you put it in their hands. So that is amazing. Go to Comfy. CMS Baker's Post it's a cool product, and I think our title on that thing is let's see here.
Well, while you're looking for that, Lindsay Baker, what a sharp woman, Kenny. She was part of the panel that you moderated at IBCON 214. Very, very bright, and man, it's just cool. You talk about an application of social media to get a network engaged, and who would have thunk it? I mean, you shoot straight with people, you give them the ability to save energy, and you give them the feedback on it so they know how they're doing and they participate. That to me is like the ultimate social experiment in our industry. So Lindsay Baker, we want to get you to come on Control Talk now and talk to us. We want to hear more about Comfy.
The title, Eric, is Building Robotics Comfy is real high tech, real high touch. Will it be the next best thing?
Ha, the next best thing. There you go. Well, you got Nest, you got Lyric. I mean, you talk about a trend we're going to be watching. Honeywell's big foray, the original round thermostat folks have come out with their Lyric thermostat. We'll be covering more about that. I think we got a thermostat showdown. It's going to be very interesting at the 2014 Control Trends Awards to see who's going to win Thermostat of the Year.
That's right. Honeywell regained the high ground on the round thermostat.
They did. So round versus square versus rectangular. Thermostat is more than just a thermostat, just one of the many, many, many great, exciting competitions we'll have at this year's Control Trends Awards. And with that, Kenny Smyers, I'm going to bid you adieu. Thanks to our audience. Thanks to Optimizer and the Innovator for being our guest this week. We will see you on Control Talk. Stay tuned on Control 2. We'll see you on Control Trends next week. I'm Eric Stronquist. He's Kenny Smyers. Have a great week and stay in control.
Indeed, Eric.
Indeed, Kenny Smyers.